All right, so we are back for another workout commentary, and this time it's just going to be a bunch of clips from my training this last week. I've been incredibly busy. Traveled down to Miami, Florida with Barbend to get content with the Hybrid Performance Method crew and Go Strong equipment, and yeah, it was a great week. It was super fortunate to be able to go on my end, and it was awesome. We got a lot of great content. So here we have heavier squat doubles. These were from Sunday. I had to work up to about like an RPE 8 or 9, depending on how I was feeling. I capped at 385 right here for a double. And the reasoning being, and honestly, I think this was a little bit conservative on my end, is just because anything over 365, it's a mental battle for me. It's like, that's the weight that caused me to rupture my quad forever ago. And at this point, it's not even so much a strength issue. It's more so just convincing myself mentally that I can handle that weight and I have the technical prowess to do so. So I always stay a little bit conservative when I'm this far out from a meet, which is around like 8 weeks right now. So I'm going to ramp the squat up. The goal is to get back in the 400s, I'd say, in the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Here we have a bench triple at 265. This was supposed to be like an RPE 9. I think I played a little conservative here just because coming back Sunday, it was after a week of travel and so forth. And to be quite honest, my bench technique is where I'm failing the most. And also I need some pressing strength off the chest. So I'm playing a little bit conservative there. No need to overshoot. This was a 525-pound deadlift at an RPE 8. This moves so easy, honestly. This was way lower than the 8, to be quite honest. I could have probably ripped that out for 3 or 4, maybe even 5 more reps if I'm really trying to be ballsy. Down in hybrid, I was able to lift with Stefi, which is always amazing. This is, I think, 245 for a triple. And I did triples because Steph was doing them, and I just wanted to hop in and pick her brain on topics and just get a good training session. And this was after 4 podcasts and filming. So she was wiped, I was wiped, but we convinced ourselves to push through. And I think that speaks to the ability to train with a partner and how great it can be with your just overall mindset and productivity. Like, there was no reason I should have trained with how tired I was. Look at that. I just failed 275. I was going for like a double or triple. I did 1 rep and was like, no way. And Steph just looked at me and she's like, what the fuck? So that speaks volumes to just pushing through, but also kind of being a little bit auto-regulatory with my overall abilities. Like, there was no way I was repping that, especially without shifting into one of my shoulders and potentially risking some injury, which I wasn't trying to do. We had some dip accessory work here. And overall, it was a great time in Miami. We got a ton of stuff. I'm excited to release the content for you guys from Barbend, and that was a trip that was sponsored by Go Strong Equipment. And yeah, I was just incredibly fortunate to make it happen and train with Steph and Hayden while I was down there. That's always a blast. They're good friends, and yeah, it was a great week of training, honestly. I feel pretty good. I'm stretching as I make this commentary, and I feel great leading out 8 weeks now. All right, so Sunday I went to an event called Strong New York, hosted in New York City. Had a lot of different folks from the industry come out and talk on various topics. The main talk that I went to was the final chat, and that was with Dr. Jordan Shallow, Dr. Stefi Cohen, and Ian Kaplan. So if you don't know Jordan Shallow, he runs Prescript. He's incredibly intelligent, incredibly progressive with his methods. Dr. Stefi Cohen obviously runs Hybrid. She is also in the same boat of being very progressive with how she thinks about strength training. And then Ian Kaplan is the chief researcher at Hybrid, and the dude is like a fucking encyclopedia. But long story short, on the chat they were talking about how to progress with back pain and kind of how to approach it, and that the way we understand back pain is changing a lot, and it's not always indicative of just one singular thing, but it's actually it's a multifactorial process, right? So when you have any form of pain in the back, more than likely there are multiple things, whether they be internal or external cues, leading to that pain. So you could have learned that pain, for example, or you could be experiencing something else in your environment that's making you feel that pain. But I'm not going to talk too much further on that. I'm going to roll a clip that I videoed from the event itself. It's basically the last points that Stefi was summing up. Super cool chat. If you're interested in any more information on that, obviously follow them. I'll link them down below, their Instagram handles at least, and then you could find their websites through that. But yeah, it was super cool chat to be in, and I hope you enjoy the clip.
this might be the most difficult one for everyone, right? Like, you just want to admit to yourself that there's an issue. You don't want to stop doing your favorite movements. But the reality is, don't do things that are bugging you. It cannot express to you how important this one is in particular. Don't ignore what's bugging you and leave it in the back burner for a little bit, at least until that pain has calmed down a little bit. Anything?
Yeah, and especially if it's severe and you're just kidding yourself, right?
Yeah.
If you're not that productive with the movement anymore, you got to admit that it might be time to modify. Kind of go back to the drawing board, because one step forward, or one step back will allow you to take 2 steps forward kind of later on. Mm-hmm. This is just such a long game, right? This training thing should be a lifelong thing. Right, most, speak differently for you guys, but it's like there's no prize money for 99% of us 6 months out, right? So it's like, why are you trying to be the best, possible version of yourself 6 months out instead of drawing it out over a lifetime?
Okay, so 1, stop doing what hurts. Got it? Got it. Okay, 2, let's not underestimate isometrics. So we spoke about bird dog, dead bug, side plants, and we kind of shot on them for a little bit, but we're not really. Those are great exercises, especially in the beginning stages of a rehab program. Isometric exercises are well tolerated by 99.999% of people because they're done in neutral. You're not exerting any significant amount of force. You're not loading your back or your structures at all. And also, the coolest thing about isometrics is that there's this thing called exercise-induced analgesia. That's basically when you're contracting your muscles for prolonged periods of time, they can actually numb down the pain that you're feeling through desensitizing nerves. Cool, right, so stop doing what hurts. Don't underestimate isometrics. Walk and move more, right? Your 4th one's gonna be habituation exercises. So we gotta turn off that pain alarm. We said at the beginning, avoid what hurts, right? But now we're at a point where, hey, we're getting better. Now it's time to reintroduce some of the movements that we were once perceiving as harmful, right? So start introducing movements that maybe simulate or are similar to the exercises that you once wanted to avoid to start.
That wraps up training vlog 4. I'm sorry it was not as educational as I want it to be, but there's a lot of cool stuff in this video and little nuggets of knowledge, and if you look for them, especially in the last clip, and I'm sorry for the quality of that clip, they're awesome and they're there. But until next time, I have some thoughts on my next vlog. I want to kind of talk a little bit about bench press and the setup, something that I struggle with. So we'll break down that, dive a little bit more into it, but thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around if you have this far, and I seriously appreciate it. Drop a comment down below if you have made it this far about what I should do next. It could be anything. No holds barred, doesn't have to be training related. Just leave a comment.